Okay, there it goes. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let me see. Okay, I am now live. Thank you very much. Good morning. If your screen looks a little different, don't worry, you are still at Conversations with Sherry and Terry Ann. It's just that Sherry is away today. And you are going to join in the conversation with me. I am Terry Ann Porter, life coach, TA. So I need you to join in today. Good morning, Debbie. Join in today. Join in the conversation. Don't leave me hanging here all by myself. Good morning. In today's conversations, we're going to continue our discussion on goals. And we started at the end of the year talking about setting your goals for the year. And that New Year's resolutions don't really have a lot of a commitment. They're just kind of wishes. But a goal is something that you're working toward. Now, there's more to a goal than just setting a goal. And we've been talking about that. We talked about last week, why? Why is that goal important to you? So this week, what is the intention of your goal? How badly do you want it? And that is going to be today's topic of conversation. Good morning, Kathy. Welcome. With Sherry away today, I get to lead this conversation. Please join in with me. In determining how badly do you want your goal. Today, Sherry is away. She is with her husband. One of their goals is a successful marriage. Now, in order to have a successful marriage, you need time together. You've heard Sherry talk a lot about how her husband, as a UPS driver, works very long hours. So they're intentionally taking this time to spend together so that they can continue on their goal of a happy and successful marriage. See, goals don't have to be anything elaborate where you've got to do extreme things. I mean, sitting around the house, spending time together, that is working towards their goal. So what are some goals that you have for this year? I've recently found an image with a quote on it. And the quote says, bring it up so I can read it. Going through life without a goal is like going on a trip without a map or a destination. So your goal is your destination. This kind of story comes in really handy when I tried to plan this out. The first trip that Reed and I took together after we got married, we were going to drive from Kansas City to Orlando and up to Myrtle Beach. My mother kept telling stories about how Terry Ann is a terrible travel companion. You're not going to enjoy this. Reed got this all figured out. After talking to me, figured out some of the things about traveling with me. He created for me a notebook. And in this notebook, he had planned out our trip. There was a map for each day of driving, so I could follow along. Where are we going? He highlighted things along the way that we could stop to do so that I could follow all the way through and all the way back. It also allowed for detours, for changes along the way. What if, as we were traveling, we saw something? Hey, let's go check that out. We continued to our destination, but that's the thing. The destination never changed. When planning your goal, you may have some detours, you may have some life interruptions, but does your goal change? And then the next question is, what are you going to do to maintain that goal? Keep it in front of you. How do you guys remind yourself of your goals? Some people, they're trying to lose weight. They'll put a picture of maybe a swimsuit they want, or some maybe will buy an outfit they like. If you're planning, you're saving up for a trip to some nice place, Hawaii, Cancun, wherever you like to go. Some people will put up a picture there to always remind them. How do you remind yourself of your goals? For myself, a lot of times it's pictures, it's images. Sometimes I'll change the background of my computer. I spend a lot of time on the computer, so that background is always a reminder for me. Or I'll stick something up on my wall so that even if I'm on a call, it reminds me, hey, yeah, that's still there. I don't know who the Facebook user is, but I'll go ahead and share this. Wise and insightful planning is the safety shore to secure and ensure success. I like that. If you wish your name to appear, by the way, I am using a platform called StreamYard. Now, with StreamYard, although it is broadcasting to Facebook, Facebook does not allow your name to appear on my screen unless you give it permission. So if you would give it permission, you can go to streamyard.com/Facebook, and it will ask you, do you give permission for your name to appear? And you can say yes. And if you don't want your name to appear, that is okay as well. I enjoy the comments anyway. Thank you for joining. I do like that comment. Another question. How does what you are doing right now align with your goal and achieving your goal? One of my goals is to improve my public speaking, to get over my fear of being in front of a camera. I absolutely hate being on the camera. I'll stand behind it. I'll take all the pictures you want. I'll do all the background tech work that you want. I know I need to be in front of it, but I don't like it. So that's the purpose of one of some of these shows, is to help me overcome my fear and to achieve my goal of stepping into some public speaking. People are going to see you. Pictures are going to be taken if you do things like that. So look at the question. So what am I doing right now? And how does it align with my goals? And how does my goal align with my values? Why do I want to public speak? I feel like I've got something to say. I don't know. If you don't think I have something to say, that's the neat thing, is you don't have to listen. But I know that I have a message and I want to share that message. But I have to live in a manner that's going to allow for that. So let's change it to something even a little simpler. I have a goal that next year, COVID aside, I want to go on a cruise. What steps am I going to take to get on that cruise? Well, first of all, I have to save the money, make sure I can afford it. Then I have to make the plans in advance. Who is going with me? There has to be some planning done for a goal. Not a sports fan. I couldn't tell you the first thing about sports. The only thing I know about football is that men get out there and they pat each other's butts. I don't know what all that's about. And then they fight over this ball. That's all I know about football. But there is one thing that I do know. The ultimate goal is to get more points than the other team. And after each play, I notice that the leaders get together and they talk about, okay, we've done this. Now what do we need to do next? So planning for the goal and the intentions of completing the goal, it's not just one step. It's not just, I'm going to do this. Okay, now we're doing it. There's plans along the way and there are changes. One goal I have, how many of you just love to do laundry? When I walk in and I see our laundry baskets, to me, that is this insurmountable pile of work that I will never get done. But the goal is to have all of the laundry done. So I look at my laundry and I sort it out. I sort it out into towels and then all the clothing. I always do the towels first. The reason I do the towels first is because they're the biggest mound of work. And I know that once I get those towels done, the goal looks so much closer, and I know I can achieve it. So what can you do when you look at a goal and you get to that insurmountable, oh, I don't know if I can get over this hump? What can you do to break it down into pieces? That was our trip and the notebook. Getting from here to there was going to take several days. What are we going to do? This is our first time sitting in the car all day long, traveling. How are we going to do this? Broke it down into little pieces. And then all of a sudden, it didn't seem so insurmountable. It looked more like something that we could work through. How often do you have a problem of procrastination? My husband has learned if he walks into my office and I am rearranging all of the cables, his first question to me is, so what is it that you need to get done that you're avoiding? For me to him, it will be, he'll come in and say, I think I need to format my laptop. It's been acting up. I really think I need to reformat it. Okay, what are you procrastinating? What are you avoiding and trying not to do? Sometimes what we need to do just looks like so much that if I get busy with something else, now I've got a good excuse and I won't get there. So by saying that to each other, we are bringing it to the surface. And now we're realizing, okay, I have to face it now. You know, sometimes when things come out in the light, instead of being hidden away, what are some of the things that you guys procrastinate on, that you have trouble facing and saying, you know, if I go do this, then I don't have to go do that? That happens a lot when I look at my desk. I'll get an email and I will print it off and I'll just set it over here and I'll deal with that later. I don't want to deal with it right now. And this way I can say that, yes, I've read it. Oh, this is true. Each goal should have a purpose. Purpose defines itself as the right determination to reach the right destination and embrace blessings of your maturity and growth. Well, Facebook user, I just love your comments. Yes, each goal does have a purpose. So what is your purpose? What are some other things that you have to face when planning a goal and achieving that goal? For myself, I find sometimes it's even hard to set the goal. And we talked last week about the why. So we not just only set it, why is it important to you? How do you keep that why in front of you? I was challenged last year to do a TED Talk by the end of 2020. Well, right after the challenge came, all the shutdown came. And so how am I going to do that? Whether I make a TED Talk or not, I don't know. But that little challenge is always up there in the corner as something for me to achieve. I enjoy doing knitting and crochet projects. I have a lot of unfinished projects. A goal would be to sit there and finish them, but sometimes once I get started, they're not quite as important as they were before. So in our goals, how do we maintain that importance? And sometimes after we set it, the importance does change. Oh, Debbie, that's a good one. One general goal is to be better than I was, not better than someone else. I love that. I'm not out to compete with anyone else. And I would hope in my own goals that if you were to see me today, you could see that I'm better than I was a year ago, better than I was 5 years ago. If you knew me 20 years ago, that I'm a better person now than I was then, hoping always to improve in myself, not to be better than anyone else. Debbie has a great, I'll get on with Debbie, and I tell you, she is so encouraging. I can't be Debbie, but I can be me and do similar things and improve. And I like that. Thank you, Debbie. What are some other intentional things that we can do with our goals? When we set out to do something, some self-questions. Why am I doing this? Why is this important? How is this going to help me to achieve that? Where will this take me? And I'm looking more at, let's see. See, I typically do the tech stuff, the behind the scenes stuff, trying to do it all at one time. That's a little different. Hi, Andrea. Good to see you. Did anybody set New Year's goals? How about word of the year? You know, we're talking about intentions of goals. I've talked to several people who told me that their word for this year was some form of the word intention, whether it was intention, intentional. They were making sure that whatever they did with a purpose, with an intention. And so they were finding ways to keep that word in front of them. My word is determination. So that anything I do with a specific determination of a specific goal, of an achievement. Kathy Weaver says she's embracing change, learning new platforms, push me into new opportunities for more connecting with people from all over the world. Oh, Kathy, I love joining in and seeing all of your different platforms that you're using. Kathy's on YouTube. She's on Facebook. She's all over the place. She's even reading a book that she's written. New platforms, always growing, always changing. That's what I'm really loving about this kind of shutdown. I don't always like, I'm a homebound person, so I will do a lot of things from the house. I don't necessarily like to get out. I have connected with so many people this way. No travel time. So it's not that, oh, I don't have the time, because by the time I finish with this meeting, I've got to be across town over to this one and then across town over to this one. So this way I can meet with a whole bunch of people and people that I normally would not have met through Toastmasters. Sherry and I talk a lot about Toastmasters. But we have been able to meet people from around the world because of these new platforms that we're using. What do you do when you're working towards your goal? You've made an intention, and then you find out that it's not quite going the direction that you want to go. Is that a failure? For me, I always have felt in the past, if I did something and it didn't work, that was a failure. And it's not. That's been a hard lesson for me. Please tell me I'm not the only one who ever felt this way. It's been a hard lesson for me to accept that because something did not go right does not mean that it was a failure, because from each detour I've had to change, each interruption, each change of path, that always led me to learn something. One way I've learned a lot of the technology, I clicked this button, ooh, that didn't work. And here's what happens when you click that button. So now I can tell you, in teaching different technology platforms, if you do this, this will happen. Not just because I read it in a book, because I tried it. I still have the same goal of learning the technology, learning the program, the software, whatever. So making that mistake was okay. It was a mistake, but the mistake was not the failure. So working towards my goal, if I've had something I wanted to do and I've been working towards it, and this just totally blew up in my face, did not work, does not have to change my goal. It just simply means now I have to find a different path or step over this obstacle and remain on this path. Just know that this is not something that I need to do. Yes, new platforms have a lot of learning curves. And going towards those goals, Kathy, you're doing the same thing. Going towards those goals, a lot of learning, a lot of mistakes, a lot of detours, a lot of changes, but they can all still get us to that goal. We don't want to lose sight of the ultimate goal. That's why last week we talked about it's important to know your why, and not just the surface of why do you want that goal? Oh, here's my answer. Okay, dig down deeper. Why that answer? Why that answer? Go down deep into the layers and find out your why. Not just a simple, oh yeah, I'd like to lose weight. Why? Oh, there's a dress I'd really like to wear, or I'd feel better. Okay, but why? Go down deep into your why. Once you're really deep into your why, that goal becomes even more important. Yes, learning this didn't work is sometimes a hard lesson. Now, I don't know about you, a lot of times, something I've had to learn to get over, when I would have a learning lesson, I would shut down. Oh my gosh, I failed. It didn't work. People are going to make fun of me. They're going to ask, yeah, you tried that. No. And then I'm having to learn to overcome that paralysis of now what do I do? It's getting easier because I have become aware of it. It took a while even to become aware of it. But once I became aware of it, then I had to learn to accept it, look at it as a learning opportunity, not as a failure. And if other people saw me fail, that's okay. Other people will also see me get up and recover. That was also a part that I often missed in the past. I got to thinking earlier today, here's what I would think of as of mistakes. When I was a teenager, we were just starting to be able to wear slacks to school. We couldn't wear jeans, but we could wear slacks. But girls at that time, we didn't have a lot of slacks, so there was still a lot of wearing the pantyhose. You know, if you put a run in your pantyhose, how many times a day people would stop you and say, hey, you've got to run. What are you going to do about it? There's nothing you can do about it in that situation. She said, okay, thank you, yeah. And pointing that out all day long. And that's what I felt like. If I make a mistake, people are going to constantly point it out. So I have to stop and decide, okay, what can I do about it? All I can do is move forward. Silly concept, I know, but still, it all relates. I also often thought about my mistakes of, I don't know if they even still do this. They used to, a dentist would come into the school and have us all eat this little red tablet. And our mouths would be filled with red. And then we were told, yeah, you didn't brush very well. And it took a long time to get all that red out of your mouth. So everybody all through the day would see that red in your mouth. Oh, look at you, look at you. That's often what I feel like when I make a mistake. Look at you, look at you. That's why it's been a hard lesson to learn, and I still have to remind myself daily about the mistakes. It doesn't change my intention. So what is the intention of what I am doing? It's like hurting someone's feelings. Oh, well, you hurt their feelings. That was definitely not my intention. I never intentionally set out to hurt someone's feelings. That doesn't mean somebody's feelings won't be hurt. So looking at the intention of the heart. The driving force beyond purpose is a magical wand called Intrinsic Motivation. Oh, I like that. What motivates you? Yes. And another thing about the goal and intentions, just saying this is my goal and no action doesn't get you anywhere. That's where intention becomes important, because having the goal isn't enough. It's the intention, the action, that motivation, what's keeping you going. I love this. I got this for Christmas. You were born to be real, not to be perfect. I have a feeling this person knows me pretty well. It's not going to be perfect, but it can be real. And there is a difference. There is a big difference. That's also another thing that this platform is showing me. A lot of mistakes go on in technology, in speaking, in getting on the camera. Be real. I'm sitting here all by myself today without Sherry's stories coming in. So, you know what? It's scary. It's very scary. But still doing it, still moving forward with the goal of improving, learning. I love to learn. Those are my goals. And these are just additional steps toward that. You a coffee person or a tea person? Totally off the subject, but that's okay. I always look at the difference between coffee and tea. With coffee, I'm thinking fast. With tea, I'm thinking slow. So they both mean something different to me. Off the subject. Okay. So as some final thoughts on intention, you have your goal. You have set your goal. You have found your why for your goal. How badly do you want it? Remind yourself, how badly do you want that? Keep it in front of you and make sure that everything that you do along the line towards that goal is in alignment with that goal. Sherry and I have planned out the next couple of weeks. We're going to continue working on the theme of the goal through the rest of January. Next week, the means to achieving your goal. Do you have the means to achieve your goal, and what resources do you need? And then on January 27, don't give up. At this point, many people drop their goals. So what are you doing to stay focused, and how will you be accountable and keep this goal as a priority? That'll be January 27th. And then in February, we're going to go towards the people that you need in your life. Friends, cheerleaders, coaches, and mentors. That is where we are going with this. What's that? What's intention? Intention means energy to reach your goals purposefully. What a great summary. Energy to reach your goals purposefully. What a great summarization of the intentionality of your goals. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. Sherry will be back next week. I am Terry Ann Porter, Life Coach, TA. Sherry Berger, Casey-inspired coffee with Sherry. She will be back with us next week, and we will continue our goal discussion looking at the means to achieving your goals. Thank you, everyone, for joining me, and we'll see you next week.